I guess before I start, I ought to say two things. One is that I have a tough job following up a day of wonderful talks by everyone, videos and everyone here. And the other is that I couldn't have asked, I guess, for a better setup, because it's almost like all of us planned our talks sitting around the table, even though we didn't. And I suppose that's credit to the organizers, wherever you are out there, that have brought all the different themes together. Thank you, thank you. So this is Karl Popper. He is a philosopher, but he has something very important to say to those of us who are not quite as old as he is. Now, and Popper argues that knowledge advances through trial and error, through criticism, right? We can never be completely certain that we're right. The most we can hope for is to set up some kind of open system, like science, to evolve our knowledge. We have an idea, we put it out there, we attack it, we criticize it, we subject it to experiments, we criticize its logic, we see what's left standing, and then from there, we evolve our knowledge. Now, actually, as Ken Robinson was talking about, wonderfully, as a setup, right, we have no idea what kinds of things we take for granted today, what kinds of things in our world that we stand and we take for granted simply because they've always been, but not because they're really right, or they are the best way, or anything like this. Now, even Newton's physics, which had been standing for a long time, right, many, many, many years, was eventually overturned. We can't take anything for granted. Now, if we need this kind of open system, this evolving system, right, who does the challenging? And I think it's social entrepreneurs. Now, just as you need pioneering scientists out there trying out new ideas, making new experiments, innovating, doing all kinds of new things, being very critical, we need people out in the world challenging our political, economic, and social institutions, right? All of them. Because Popper's lesson is deceptively radical. If we take this idea seriously, that knowledge advances through trial and error, that it advances through criticism, it means that we cannot tolerate any monopolies in knowledge. It means no theory, no paradigm, no institution can claim a monopoly on the truth. Now, what if our social knowledge, our knowledge of things like law, community, governance, education, what if this evolves in the same way? Now, if we think about technology, we have lots of people out there. We have kind of like an open system, right? Lots of people are out there trying new things, bringing new products to market, going and tearing down monopolies, right? You know, MySpace learned this lesson the hard way, that things can fail, right? When new people come and offer something better. MySpace was refuted. It's a theory that's refuted in our open system of technology. And it's worked wonderfully. You know, it's done many wonderful things. But it seems to me that we have no parallel for this, none at all, for evolving our social knowledge. Now think about it. Most countries run one-size-fits-all education systems. And they require almost everyone, millions and millions of different people, all to go to it. Many, many, many communities are modeled on some small variant of suburban subdivision housing. Laws are written in central capitals and then imposed across huge, huge land masses with millions and millions of different people with different aspirations, different styles, different outlooks on the world, different views, all different people. And they're all expected to find these same one-size-fits-all systems not only just as useful, but equally as just. Now, I think this explains a lot of what's going on in our generation. I think we have divided hearts, and we're pulled by two different, very serious rival forces. On one side, we see the kind of world that technology is building and could build. It's networked, it's open, it's decentralized, it's collaborative. It's wonderful. It allows us to do all kinds of wonderful acts of spontaneous kindness and beauty. And then on the other side, we have distant, impersonal, monopolistic social institutions. And to me, I think this is part of feelings of disillusionment that I think a lot of people in our generation have. Because we feel we've grown up in a world where we see what technology makes possible, and yet we also see the social realm, which seems stagnant and doesn't seem to be moving. This is not without explanation, right? We have no system to evolve our social knowledge. Why should we be surprised then if with an open system in technology, technology shows rapid advance, but in our social technologies, the ways we live together, law, governance, education, community, these things stay stagnant. Now let's compare our social institutions, monopolistic, centralized, big, impersonal social institutions, with flagship projects of 21st century entrepreneurship. YouTube challenged media monopolies by making everyone, at least potentially, a producer or star. Kickstarter innovated around large arts foundations and big donors by crowdsourcing the financing of art and culture. Khan Academy or iTunes U or Skillshare, all of these projects democratized the tools of education. They turned cities and cafes and communities into schools and classrooms and everybody into teacher and student and both at the same time. And of course, Wikipedia upended the encyclopedia establishment by throwing open the doors to all kinds of collaboration and transparency in knowledge sharing, right? Now, I'll get to that in just a second. Now, think about what makes these systems similar. What unifies these systems? They're open. They're open systems, right? YouTube isn't just another media company. Wikipedia isn't just a 21st century version of Encyclopedia Britannica or Encarta, right? Was it you talking about that earlier? Yeah. It's not the same thing. They did something radically different. They democratized the tools of their industry. Think about it. It's not just I'm making videos. It's I gave everyone the ability to make videos. They made a landscape. They made an open system that allowed everyone, people just like you, to come in and to criticize things as they are, right? To challenge monopolies, to go and try out new things, trial and error, experimentation, all of these things. The supercharged creativity and innovation and the evolution we've seen in projects like Wikipedia and YouTube is a natural result. It's a natural result of an open system. Now, these open systems are based on a few big things. Variety, choice, most of all consent, right? I don't have to watch Rebecca Black, which I don't. I can watch Johnny Cash instead. But it's okay. We can live in a world where some people like Rebecca Black and some people like Johnny Cash. That's okay. These projects aren't telling you what you need to want. They're opening up the playing field. They're opening up a space for people to come, and then we discover what it is that people want. And we discover it through this evolving open process of constant innovation from within an open system. Now, Karl Popper, from the beginning of this show, he was also an advocate of something called the open society. Now, the open society is a place with maximum room for dissent, maximum room for experimentation, radical toleration. It is the open system as applies to society. It is the place where we can evolve our social knowledge. We shouldn't be surprised that Popper was an advocate of this idea, believing as he did that we could never be sure. Just as we can't tolerate monopolies in science, we can't tolerate monopolies in society. So this has been a little abstract. So let me put some concrete ideas here, some realities of the kinds of things. How do we build the open society? This is a picture taken by one of my friends that while we were in Kenya together. It is well known and well documented that all throughout the developing world, it is extremely difficult, almost impossible for the average person to legally start a business. Now, for some reason, people don't talk about this very much, but it's a very, very serious issue. This keeps people unemployed, it keeps them poor, it keeps them disconnected, it keeps all their ideas out of the economy. It is a major world tragedy, and it's a monopoly that we must challenge. Because as far as I can see, this is perfectly analogous, right? Just as the tools of media creation or writing an encyclopedia were once monopolized, well, the tools of legal business creation are monopolized all around the world by a narrow elite, and especially in developing countries. So, what do we do about this? Is there a way, some kind of idea lying around, that we can leverage, that we can make radical, that we can challenge a paradigm with, that we can challenge this closed-off system here? I think there is. So, we know that incubators exist, right? Like Seed Philly, for instance, or Jacques' green incubators that he talked about. Incubators build cool, individualized environments. They build fun places for people to come to learn, to collaborate. They make it easy for people to come together and try out new things. And the beauty of this is that it's also based on consent, right? Just like what we were talking about earlier with YouTube and all these other open systems. People come to incubators. They come to incubators because it's a win-win situation for them and the people that run the incubator. The people that run it, they have an incentive. They say, if you are successful, I am also successful. This is great. This is how the great collaboration happens in these things. So is there a way that we can take this, an incubator, like the Googleplex here, and can we make it something radical? Can we use it to challenge a monopoly? Could we build an incubator neighborhood? At least in principle, right? What about a city? Could you build an urban scale incubator? One with better rules, say rules that made it easy for people to come, legally start a business, where they can enjoy the legal protections that good business needs, but also that built cool, exciting environments that offer lots of guidance and resources and things for people to come and build successful businesses. Now, I think this is also possible. This one I add is an actual picture from Dubai. It's not a sci-fi model. I think this actually is very, very possible. But again, remember, the cornerstone of this is consent. A city-scale incubator means it needs to offer an attractive enough bundle of things to people that they freely come in and freely go out. The same thing like in YouTube or Wikipedia, people must be free to move in and out. The power of free human association is what gives these projects their innovative capacity. And it's what has to stand behind radical social entrepreneurship in the future. Now think about this. When people talk about social entrepreneurship, they're usually not talking about this kind of thing. This is entrepreneurship in legal systems. It's entrepreneurship in community. It's entrepreneurship in urban design. All of these things. These are categories that we take for granted. We think these things are set in stone. They're not set in stone, and they are open to entrepreneurship like anything else. Now, open systems in things like encyclopedias or in media are great, okay? But we are not going to fix this with a new app. This is the sad truth. We're not going to solve this with a new and improved water pump that we airdrop all over Africa or something like this. Now, please don't misunderstand me. I love technology. I love water pumps. I love apps. I love all of these things. I'm not in any way denigrating the value they bring. I love these things. But we have to want something more. Why should we be satisfied when we can see the power of open systems and technology, open systems in 21st century entrepreneurship? If we see the power in these systems, can you imagine the possibilities of building an open system in society? Can you imagine the ways that we could find to restructure community, restructure education, change the ways that we can live together if we are able to leverage an open system in society? Now, I have no doubt that in this room, and we've certainly heard many today, that there are many wonderful ideas, and I hope that all of you will pursue them and to great acclaim and success. But I hope all of you will also take Popper's challenge seriously. I hope you will be willing to challenge monopolies. What you need to do is take your good ideas, these hunches that you feel, these things that you feel connected, and you need to leverage them as far as possible. You need to make them as subversive of today's paradigms as you possibly can. because this is the only way we are going to evolve our social knowledge. This is the only way we're going to resolve our divided hearts. The divide that we feel between the kind of world that technology seems to be building and the kind of world that our social technologies are not allowing us to build. I hope that you will consider striking the root, becoming a radical social entrepreneur. Now, paradigm shifts in science are resisted, and so are paradigm shifts in society. We have to understand that many people have vested interests, reputations, money, power, all kinds of things. People that are established have vested interest in keeping paradigms in place. This means that anything that you do that is new and genuinely creative will be viciously resisted by people that are established. And what you have to understand is that every person, before they shift a paradigm, is told that what they are about to do is impossible. Imagine what Wikipedia would have sounded like to someone 20 years ago. An encyclopedia written on everything by everyone, edited with no experts. It sounds like a recipe for chaos, right? But it's not. It's an open system, and it led to one of the largest and most rapidly evolving and changing and accurate and wonderful repositories of human knowledge in human history. So what you must understand is that when people are telling you that the things that you want to do are impossible, that it is too far outside the mainstream, that it cannot be done, this is the old paradigm defending itself against the courage of your ideas, and most especially the brash courage of your youth. So disregard and carry on. Because the reality is, those that are established are not going to give you permission. If we wait on those that are already established, we will be waiting forever to build the kind of world that we could have, and we have no time to waste. Thank you.